Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and for everybody who is new, I'm Leorah and I'm so glad you found me. So welcome to this video, which is going to be the review of this palette. This is the Berlin Underground palette from the Jet Setter bundle from Nomad Cosmetics. So the Jet Setter bundle is 4 palettes and this is one of them, and this is how she looks. Let me get this closer to you. So this is of course a very like dark and grungy color scheme. Maybe you're not used to me wearing colors like this, but as a matter of fact, I was craving to work with this color scheme, but I just needed like dark, and I needed this. So that's why I jumped at this palette. Of all of those 4 palettes from the Jet Setter bundle that I all have and that are coming up at some point in the future, this was the first one I wanted to work with. Now we have here 15 shades. It's cardboard packaging. There is a nice big mirror here, and there are, let me just check this because I wrote this all down just to make it right, okay? So we have 7 shimmery metallics, we have 4 satin shades, we have 3 mattes, and we have 1 duochrome, which is this one. So I'm gonna go through some swatches. I'm trying. My arm is still affected from my rash. It is what it is. Because of the isolation, I could not go for 6 weeks through my therapy, you know, so it is still lingering on. What can I do? It is what it is. So let's just swatch them. This is the shade Kreuzberg. This is the duochrome that I just mentioned to you. And I just have body lotion here, okay, because my skin is so dry and it's like, it feels like it's peeling off. So this is the shade Kreuzberg, which is obviously a part of Berlin, a suburb, not a suburb, a neighborhood in Berlin. Then the next shade is SO36. So I had to actually Google what that is, because that is a music club in, I think, Oranienstraße, which is a street that is, I guess, known for like the punk scene or something. I don't know, because that is not really my scene. But anyway, then the next shade is The Wall. And I'm going into this because of course I have German background. I have been in Berlin. I have been affected by living in a country that has a wall. So because I grew up, I was born and I grew up on the eastern side, the one that was occupied by the Russians. So yeah, so I know what it means. So that's why I'm just making a big deal out of this, because this so vibes with me, okay? Then East Side Gallery is a beautiful gray, a satin, a cool silver, which looks like this. This is a spectacular shade. I used this in my first look. By the way, you probably have seen the looks, or maybe you will see them after the swatches. I'm gonna put them on the screen. Okay, so this is East Side Gallery. Then we have Techno. They're writing Techno here, T-E-K-K-N-O. I have never seen it written that way. We always wrote it T-E-C-H-N-O. But anyway, it's clear, it's Techno, it's a music style. This is how it looks. This first whole row is just super spectacular. As you know, probably if you've been watching me recently, you know that I have been craving grays and silvers, and this is exactly what it gave, like what I needed, what it gave to me. Something like that. Okay, next thing is NDW, which is, no, NDW, sorry. NDW, which is Neue Deutsche Welle, which is also basically a music style. This is how it looks. This is a soft matte punk green. So the descriptions here I'm taking from the website. I would probably say that this is a teal or something, but you know how I am with explaining colors, so seriously. So the next one is Helden, which is heroes in German, which is really cool. This is how it looks. It's a shimmery mustard yellow, like that. I don't know if it shows up. I usually think when I'm looking at my viewfinder it doesn't show up, and then when I'm editing it I see that it does, so I just have to trust that it does. The next one is Pure but Sexy. Yeah, okay, shimmery golden rod. This is how it says. So this is basically the darker cousin of the other one, which is super pretty, both of them. I have used the darker one today in my look, which you will see in a second, okay? Then the next one, Tacheles. This is actually, I was so thrilled when I saw this. And yes, that is something that is being said a lot in like German, in Berlin culture. Tacheles is a Yiddish word. It means basically someone is saying something straight out, you know? It's like straight talk. This is Tacheles, and it is Yiddish, which is basically something that comes from my culture, from my background, and I'm so thrilled that that is part of the palette, you know. And yes, it is part of Berlin culture, definitely. Okay, so that is Tacheles. Then of course we have the Love Parade. Wait, I have to tell you, Tacheles is a soft matte 70s burnt orange. So now Love Parade is a satin purple haze. This is how it looks. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I used that in, I think, the look before this one, when I did like a super smoked out eye. I used that all over my lid, and it was super, super pretty. So this is how it looks. Then that was the second row. Now the last row is a Deutsch Punk, which is, of course, it's punk, you know. This is how it looks. It's a metallic snake skin. Ooh. So again, I'm not 100% sure if it shows up a lot on my skin right here, but I also used that on my lid today. Then also the next one I used on my lid, which is Chaos Tage, which is chaotic days or chaos days, which is also part of Berlin's history, when people go on the street and like wreak havoc. This is how it looks. That is a satin gold brass. Okay, next one is Oranienstraße, which is of course a street in Berlin, and that is a matte oxidized iron. I used that also today in today's look. Sorry, it's getting a little bit patchy down here because my skin condition is worse here in this area, okay? Then the next one is Hansa, which is a shimmer bronzed copper. So you see this whole color scheme is grungy, you know, isn't it? Like besides maybe this one here, but even with this one, it's just really, really phenomenal. And then we have the last one, which is Clubnacht, which means basically go clubbing for a night, and that is a shimmer distressed black. Now I don't know what is a distressed black, because I'm not into creating makeup, like I have not like dove into this, but look at this black. Isn't that spectacular? Like seriously. Yeah, so I guess there is some micro glitter in it, some shiny sparkles, so maybe that is what it is. So these are all the swatches. I just really, really felt like featuring them because the palette is not super huge and I don't have to like pick and choose a couple of shades. I just really, really wanted to talk about all of them. And again, I'm just so thrilled because this palette just speaks to me on so many levels, because of the color scheme, because it features Berlin, because of the shade names. There is so much in this that vibes with me as a German-born person that I just really enjoyed this so much. And I was like sitting here and snickering a couple of times, just using the shades, you know, just because I was reading the shades and how they called them, and it just shows you how much like heart blood, I don't know if one says it like this, but like, you know, how much of a heart went from Nomad Cosmetics into this palette, because they're really picking out things of the destination that actually really speak of the destination. So I think this it's phenomenal, you know. So I hope by now I have showed you the looks that I have already done with that palette. And of course, as always in my new review format, I am showing you now how I created this look in a sped up version. I'm going to put some music, so it's going to be entertaining for you. And besides that, I'm going to see you here in just a second for the look, and after that for the review part. I will tell you also the one thing that I would change about the palette that's going to come in the review part. So I hope you enjoy, and with that, let's go right into it. sweeties, here we are with the finished look. And sweeties, I gotta tell you, I feel super great. I feel super glam. I feel like this is exactly what I needed today. Also, of course, the neutral part, and also a bit like the teal kind of accent under my eyes. I really like it. So yeah, I think of all of the looks that I did, this is the most neutral one, and I was craving to do this. I was sort of saving it for last. I don't know, I just sort of felt like this is going to be my highlight, sort of, you know. So anyway, how do you like it? Okay, so let's zoom in just for a second this way. Is that helping? Okay, let's see. Okay, so now let's chat a little bit about the palette. Are we okay? Okay, so let's chat a little bit about the palette, because sweeties, this is the palette that I have worked with the longest in my whole life. And that is because if you have been watching me recently, then you know that I have been on a 1-week break where I also didn't do makeup. So my first 2 looks I did before I took my break, and then I did one more after the break, and then stuff happened and I couldn't. So I have never worked with one palette straight for such a long time. One of my very good friends I was talking to about this, she said this is like being on a merry-go-round and never getting off, which is not a bad thing. It's a good palette. It's just, for me, it was like, wow, am I ever going to film this review? So finally the day has come, and yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the palette. By now I have used all of the shades, and I gotta tell you, sweeties, that this palette is amazing. And I think I could have done, of course, I could have done so many more looks with this, because there is so much hidden in this palette that you don't necessarily see, or at least I didn't necessarily see that like on first glance. Okay, but of all of the 4 of the Jet Setter bundle, this was the first one I wanted to work with, partially because previously I have been working with a neon palette, and I just felt like going darker and like grungy and stuff, but also because I thought this is so intriguing, because it's just so special, this color scheme, you know. Just this row here is insane. I think this is the first, these are the ones that I used in my first look together with the black, I think, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There is so much in this that that is surprising, you know. So anyway, I'm basically saying the same thing with different words, but this is really, I'm really convinced of this palette. The quality is really good. Of course, this whole packaging, it's cardboard packaging, and I also really like the design. They, Nomad Cosmetics is doing that all the time, that they're just like putting the destination in the palette, you know, not only in the color scheme and in the topic of the palette, but also on the outside packaging. And it just shows you that they're really into it all the way, you know. They're not just like making a palette and throwing it on and like this is it. No, there is so much meaning in this, and I can see the Berlin Underground, not ever having been there myself, but I can see that this is the vibe that I'm getting even without opening the palette, you know. So that is so cool. So anyway, I really enjoyed it. I think the shimmers are spectacular. For me personally, there are not enough mattes in the palette, so I had to reach out of my comfort zone, and I had to use shimmers for places where I usually use mattes. Now, is that the worst thing? No. Is it my makeup style? No. But it was really a cool experience, and other videos that I have filmed wearing looks that I have done with this, people really commented on, wow, your eye look looks spectacular. So apparently I will not die from putting shimmers above my crease, you know. Usually I don't do that. Usually I love having mattes in abundance, but so that's the only thing I would personally change about the palette. I think that it could maybe benefit from more mattes, but that is just because that is my makeup style. If you don't have my makeup style in placing mattes like everywhere except on the lid, then you don't have that, okay? Plus, I I think I really went out of my comfort zone in a very, very good way. It just really broadened my horizon having to do this. Nobody forced me to do it, but it just felt like in order for me to make use of all the shades and create looks with everything, I kind of had to, you know? So, and it was a good experience. Everything performed super well. The opacity of the shimmers, the blendability of everything, I really, really liked it. Really just the only thing that I would change if I were to redesign the palette, I would put in more mattes, definitely. But really, that is just my thing, you know? So yeah, I think I can absolutely recommend this palette if this is a color scheme. If you're like leaning more or wanting a color scheme like this, if you're leaning to like grungy looks and stuff like that, that could be absolutely your thing. I really, really enjoyed working with it. Now that I've worked for so long with this, I'm also looking forward to working with like real colors, like really, really colorful looks. I'm sort of craving that now, which is good because I'm sort of putting myself into the position of one time like having this and then denying myself something else because I'm just working with one palette at the time. And I never had that. When I was jumping from palette to palette every single day, I was sitting here and I was thinking, what am I going to do? What do I feel like now? And now that I'm actually committing to a palette for a certain amount of time, I actually feel like now I actually know what I need for tomorrow, you know? So anyway, has nothing to do with the palette. It's always what happens when I have worked with a palette for some time. Okay. I totally recommend this palette. I really, really loved working with it, loved everything about it, just that I need more mattes. But besides that, I really do believe that also today I put shimmers in places I have never put shimmers before this palette. So, and it really, really doesn't matter. So apparently makeup is really just what you put on. It's not that deep. It's not... You know, I'm not gonna like ramble on about this, but for me it was a really like a mind-opening experience to have to put myself in this, you know, because I learned makeup the traditional way and that's how I always did it. Mattes in the crease and above and blending out with mattes, and that is how I learned it. That's how I feel comfortable with and I feel pretty with. But now knowing that really I can do whatever I want and it's still going to look beautiful, that was a really, really nice message for me. And I think this is sort of, and I don't want to put too much into this and like put a meaning onto Nomad Cosmetics that I don't know if it like if that is really what they want to do, but I kind of feel like this could be the message from Nomad Cosmetics because I know they're extremely loving and caring and supportive, and I just feel like the message that you can put on whatever you want and you're still gonna be beautiful, this is something that I feel in that brand. So anyway, that is it for today. I hope you did enjoy. Please come back for my next video. On your way out, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would really, really love to have you here as part of my tribe. And besides that, definitely go ahead and sparkle. See you next time. Hugs and kisses. Bye.